Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia.
And we are live, and welcome to episode 92 of Defining Duke Ultimate and Xbox Supplement Podcast. I am joined by a fantastic member of the Xbox community, Windows Central writer and producer, host of the Xbox Chatterdays, the amazing Miles Dompier. How are we doing, sir?
Cog, I'm fantastic, man. You always kill it with these intros. You always make little old folks like me feel so special, feel so big. And no, I'm excited. I'm really excited to be here. Always love chatting with you. And I'm excited about today's topic.
Yes, I'm very excited too. So first of all, we got to address the elephant in the room. My brethren, the Duke bro, Master Matty Plays, unfortunately, got some life things he got to do. But, you know, he's been holding me down for so long. I've been traveling the world, seeing all types of things. So it's only right I extend the favor. But he is all right. He's just taking care of some business. He will be back in the mix sooner than later. But we got things to talk about, Miles, man. I wanted to kind of have a little fun topic, and we know about the future of Xbox, you know, as far as 2023 is concerned. There's a lot of talk about the potential, how big it could be. Obviously, we know what happened in 2022 as far as the first party offerings, right? And we know what, you know, obviously things were missed there, but we see Phil making the rounds, right? We see him going around. I believe it's on Same Brain podcast. Salute to them. They had a great show with Phil. And, you know, he even mentioned it like, hey, first party, they're expecting big things in 2023. So I want to have some fun with this, pick your brain, right? So for what we know so far, right, the things we know about, in your opinion right now, 2023, how excited are you for Xbox's 2023 software lineup? And could it be something extra special?
Obviously, a lot of people in the Xbox community are tired of waiting. You know, the one more year meme. Wait till next E3,
year,
guys.
Bro. It's
gonna be it. You just wait. And the sad reality is that that probably was supposed to happen a little bit sooner. But as we all know, whether you want to hear it or not, there are certain factors that delayed things quite a bit for a lot of people. And Xbox, when they came out in 2017 and said, boom, this is our goal for the future. This is what we're working on. We're ready to rock. When they announced Hellblade, they weren't really expecting the entire world to be disrupted in the same way. So, yeah, I think maybe in an alternate timeline at the end of 2021 going into 2022, maybe we had that year. And initially, we were supposed to have Redfall. We were supposed to have Starfield. So that was kind of the back half of this year was maybe going to be the start, a little taste of what's to come. And then those got delayed. People were upset. But when I look at 2023 now, just the stuff that is safe to assume is coming. It really, truly, and genuinely, I know, again, we joked about the meme. It does look like 2023 is shaping up to be a huge year for Xbox first party. And that's if you're ignoring all the other monumental, massive third-party releases. 2023 is looking absolutely bonkers across the board, no matter who you are, no matter where you play. And then Xbox, if they start firing on all cylinders next year in 2023, oh, that Game Pass sub gonna be stacked, and I'm ready for it. I'm really excited, and I'm like you. I'm very optimistic about what 2023 holds for Xbox.
Yeah, well said, brother. I think that you know, I'm of the same mindset, and it's like you look at what, like you said it good, like what we know should happen, right? And we talk about the Redfall, the Starfield, right? Those two we expected this year that we now assume, provided nothing extra happens, is going to release next year. Then obviously we look at, you know, I look at a situation like Forza, right? And that's a big release. That should hit, right? So as far as from my standpoint, those are the three pillars, right? At least for the first 6 months of the year, hopefully, provided nothing gets delayed, right? That's the pillar right there. So when you look at that, the fun I want to have with this is there's some talk within the Xbox community that these three mega big blockbuster games, I would say, AAA, right? But the thought process, and I want to know if you agree with this, Miles, is that even with those three, if they hit their targets, is it still an L if it's only those three? From a AAA standpoint, would Miles Dompier be disappointed if only those three games came? Or is it the opposite, where you're like, no, these are huge titles, Cog. Like, we're not going to minimize. So where do you stand on this debate? This is a big
Is it a
internal
W
one.
or an L if it's only
Yes.
those three?
Let's go.
I will say, based on the fact that folks like Phil Spencer and Matt Booty have talked about the one big game per quarter a little while back. It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since they made that statement. I can't imagine that they didn't have anything lined up for 2023.
Okay.
You know, 2022, it's a wash. We can be outraged. We can be upset. It doesn't change the fact that the games aren't here. We're not going to make them come faster. It is what it is. Sorry. It's not that exciting, but that's just the reality. I've accepted it. I'm looking towards the future. You know, I'm looking towards what's next. But I'm of the mindset that they told us those three are coming in the next 12 months. So their whole messaging of that showcase was these games, all of these games we're showing you are going to be coming in the next 12 months. So that means theoretically they have essentially promised Forza, Redfall, and Starfield by June of next year. So that means we can't have a scenario where you go 6 months without a big game. I mean, come on, y'all. That's way too long. So I'm thinking that I think a little Hellblade's going to be sprinkled in that mix. I think that's going to be the holiday, quote unquote, banger. If you want to use that term, I think Hellblade's going to be it. I think that's going to be the 4. I'm expecting at least 4, probably more. But if I'm picking 4, it's Forza, Redfall, Starfield, Hellblade 2. Coming in 2023. And if they give me all of that, you know, we all want more. I'd be okay with a little bit more. But if they hit those 4, I think that's a damn good year for first party.
All right. I'm with you. Listen, that lineup you mentioned is fire, right? You throw those three that we talked about, you throw a Redfall, you throw a Starfield, and you throw a Forza at the first half of the year, and then you have a Hellblade, Senua Saga, graphical fidelity, hashtag just one energy, so, you know, third person, over the shoulder, cinematic experience, fire, right? So I'm with you. That's a monumental year as far as I'm concerned from a AAA first party perspective. But let me throw a little red shit.
Okay. Yeah.
So what about we say Starfield needs a little bit more time? Now we do know, Miles, this game already got delayed, right?
Yeah.
There, you know, some people, not everyone, but some people weren't all the way graphically impressed with it because, I mean, they understand the scope of it, but some people say, hey, we see a little things that maybe need a little bit more time to cook. Not that they look bad, you know what I'm saying? But just, you know, for polish perspective, or maybe frame rate perspective, right? So now let's just say God Howard now goes to Phil and say, look, we could launch it, but if we launch it towards the end of 2023, right? That fall. So now, based on Miles's plan, right, which has that Hellblade cooking ready to go. So let's just say it's second half. Could you still launch something of a AAA perspective in that close proximity to Starfield? Or in Miles' opinion, maybe you feel, hey, you still can launch it. It won't affect it too much. Like, where do you stand with Starfield being honestly one of the biggest, highly most anticipated title, and something, in my opinion, they can't get wrong? And even Jess Gordon, we had on Duke, said, you know what, they can't afford to get Starfield wrong. So where do you sit with that scenario?
I think longer term, Xbox right now, their goal is 1 per quarter. 1 big AAA first-party game per quarter. They haven't hit that, so they can't talk about what's next beyond that because they haven't proved to the world that they can even do that. And everybody's, you know, upset one way or another. Everyone's upset about that cadence. And I think once they hit that cadence, people will be like, all right, what's next? Every other month? Every 2 months we're going to get that big trip. And I think as we move forward, as they build that portfolio, the cadence is going to improve. And they want people, again, they're trying to sustain Game Pass. It's not the only pillar of their business, as they've reiterated. But moving forward, they want to keep that sustained growth. And if you want that, you have to give people games to stay subscribed to the subscription service. So I think as long as they space if Starfield and Hellblade are going head to head, I would hope for a couple months, like 2 months between. I don't want them to do, what they typically do, where it's like November 2nd is one game, and then November 14th is the other. And you're like, all right, here you go. Have fun. We didn't give you anything for 11 months, but November, baby's stacked. Get going. But I could see them shifting. Again, it's hard to say how far along Hellblade is, because Hellblade has been in development for a while. We've seen gameplay, so we know it's further along than other Xbox projects. I don't know if it's far enough along that it could come in fall, and then Starfield takes the holiday spot if Starfield needs that time. But I could see them using Starfield as the console pusher for the holiday season, because again, I think as much as I would say I'm more excited about Hellblade than I am for Starfield, but I know a lot of people are more excited for Starfield, and I think Starfield has more mass appeal in the gamer sphere just because of Bethesda, just because of Skyrim. And if you were playing games when Skyrim came out, that was just a moment. Everyone you knew who played video games was talking about Skyrim, similar to what just happened with Elden Ring. So I think Starfield has a better chance of being that for the holidays. So I could see it, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they juggle it. Maybe a contraband gets sprinkled in the summer. Okay. Maybe there's some other little things throughout the year to help keep a consistent flow. But I think this year, with 2 high-profile delays of Redfall and Starfield, if they can't hit the 1 per quarter, then there's going to be a lot of question marks from a lot of people about, all right, guys, we've given you the benefit of the doubt for a few years, but what's going on? What's going on back there?
Okay, no, these are fantastic points, and a lot of the Xbox community shares that sentiment, and one thing that I think you made a fantastic point is, the goals, right, of hitting that quarterly cadence, having people sustained in the service. We just seen them talk about kind of like the Game Pass targets and growth and things that's going on, and we know that a lot of it is also affected as far as we know the console space has that kind of circumference of limitation of where they can go with it. And Phil made comments of saying, hey, this is probably much the max we're going to have in from a console perspective. But we're seeing like this tremendous growth in PC and other stuff. But we and you both know that having good first party offerings definitely entice people into the service, right? We all know that. So I think that plays a factor. And to your point, you're making a fantastic point. They need to hit a cadence. I guess my perspective is kind of like, I'm with you. My only thing is, my concern is that games like a Starfield, games like a Hellblade, games like an Avowed, to me, those are like moment games. Those are games that when they come out, they're going to really shake the zeitgeist. People are going to, like you said about Starfield, people are going to be like, hey, like Elden Ring, hey, did you experience this? Did you go to this planet? Did you go? Like, it's those type of a moment games. And then Hellblade is such a graphical fidelity game, high fidelity. We already had a great initial first offering that showed the potential of a Ninja Theory. You know what I mean? So that has a lot of hype. And then you got Avowed, right? Avowed, potentially, if it is in close proximity of launch, is Obsidian's almost take on Elder Scrolls, right? Almost their version of what they think they could do in that universe. And to me, those 3 games, it's just Cog's opinion, can't be in close proximity.
You can't stack genre-similar games together like that. Again, I don't care because Xbox's whole goal right now is to have a diverse slate of games, and I think that's cool. You want something for everyone, and the reality is, as much as some people in the hardcore gaming space only want the big open world RPGs, that's not going to sell everyone. But that being said, to your point, I don't want 3 games of a similar style all launching within a few months of each other. Because it's just, at a certain point, like, even if I'm excited for all of them, will I be after I put 100 hours into Avowed? Am I going to go 2 weeks later and say, all right, Starfield, let's do it, boy.
I know, right? Just fire up Starfield, Avowed back to back. No, I feel you though. But to your point, and now you are selling me on the Hellblade point, because Hellblade is kind of fundamentally different in that action intense. Obviously, we have the amazing sound cues, the immersion, some slight darker tones with horror, maybe a little horror. Not Miles Dompier level horror, but just a little horror vibe. You know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So I get where you go in there. Hellblade, maybe I'll put an asterisk. I'll meet you halfway with Hellblade. But
I think that's fair.
I'm definitely going to hold the fort as far as Avowed and what you call Starfield. So enough about that. So we got that. So again, just to retrace. If Starfield launches in the first 6 months, first half of the year, and then you have any one of those three towards the second half, in Miles' opinion, is that one of the best years for Xbox from a first-party standpoint?
First-party standpoint, yes. We've never seen an Xbox that consistent in terms of first-party. People talk about the 360 glory days and the heydays. There were a lot of great partnerships. There were a lot of great third-party exclusives that they locked down. We had BioShock. I think Left 4 Dead and BioShock, correct me if I'm wrong, might have happened the same. There was a year or two with the 360 where it was just every few months, it was just bam, 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 exclusive, exclusive, exclusive. I mean, a lot of people who were around for that want Xbox to have that. In terms of first party, though, we've never had 4 first party bangers, quote unquote, drop. So hopefully moving into what comes next for them, I think that would be probably the best year that we've seen.
So yeah, man, no, I'm with you. I think you made fantastic points. I think that you have a year like that. That's a monster year. That is a resurgence. That's like a renaissance. That's like, okay, Xbox is serious about first party offerings. So yeah, I'm with you, man. You convincing me on that part. Definitely, for sure. So I want to continue talking now, and we know about those kind of main pillar games, what I consider, but I also want to talk about like fringe games, right? And I'm thinking of like a Diablo 4, right? And I'm thinking about potential Activision, Blizzard, King into the fold, right? And maybe, buffing up Game Pass, buffing up, when I look at the Activision, Blizzard, King, and we know this is a saga,
it's ongoing, baby. It don't stop.
If I hear, what does my man Ray Gun says? I hear about the CMA, the Country Music Association, one more time. I don't know if I can handle this, man. But yeah, man, like, it is a lot going on. But if we understand the importance of the deal, but if they are able to secure that and then get that infusion into this lineup, how do you think that even plays into 2023 as a whole for Microsoft?
I know a lot of people in the Xbox camp are fixated on when the deal's going through. We had people speculating, it's closing in August, baby. Easy, done deal. And then a lot of people, even Xbox, was coming out and saying, no, it's going to be next year. Like, don't expect it sooner than that. But still, people want the deal done because what it means for Call of Duty, what it means for Diablo, what it means for World of Warcraft, whatever it might be. There's a lot of exciting IPs that would come with this acquisition. And so a lot of people in the Xbox camp, understandably, if you're signed up for Game Pass, you want the deal to close because you want those games in Game Pass. All right? It's that simple. That's where I'm at. I want this deal to close for those reasons. I hope it means better working conditions for everyone. I hope it means that Activision isn't exclusively a Call of Duty machine, because Call of Duty is cool. It's a big deal from a business perspective. For me and my taste and what I want, I don't care. I want Call of Duty to be a big money-making machine so Microsoft can funnel that money into other projects. That's what I want from this, and that's what I hope that means. So Call of Duty, keep that coming. Give us some new Crash Bandicoot. Make that a more consistent thing. Give me my Tony Hawk back. They canceled Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 after delivering one of the best remakes of all time with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. What are you doing, all right? You're just funneling that back into the Call of Duty machine. And again, Call of Duty is a juggernaut, as we've seen with Modern Warfare 2. It's just a beast that, as much as people look at Vanguard and say, is Call of Duty going to be okay? Yeah, as we've seen, Call of Duty's just fine. Call of Duty really can't be stopped, it seems, no matter what they do over there. So if that means Crash, Diablo, and Call of Duty, in addition to a bunch of other first-party stuff from Microsoft, 2023 will be a ridiculous year. You'll have hundreds and hundreds of dollars of big AAA games potentially coming day one. We don't know the implications of Call of Duty yet. If there's going to have to be like, okay, well, if you want this deal to go through, you can't put Call of Duty in Game Pass for a couple years. There might be weird exceptions based on how the CMA is acting. based on a bunch of different factors. We don't know what that's going to be. It would be cool, and it would be a boon for business if Call of Duty was in Game Pass, but at least we'll have Diablo. I don't see any reason why Diablo wouldn't be in Game Pass, and then anything else Activision has cooking up, which unfortunately right now is probably just Call of Duty. But
yeah, no, great points. I think that, obviously with the CMA aspect, yes, there is a potential for concessions. Call of Duty is tremendous just to be, from the marketing standpoint, associated with Microsoft. That right there, to me, gets the casual to think, oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's Xbox. You just see the logo. You see, a lot of people who may not be in the know kind of thing. But to your point, if they're able to pull it off, we know Phil made the comments that, look, they have every intention to keep it on PlayStation. And if that is the concession and still remain in Game Pass, then I think they'll take that, because it still makes their service attractive and versus it being on PlayStation for the $70 price point or whatever. But yeah, to your point, I think that the Activision Blizzard King deal is also that wild card, because if it closes in 2023, right, which many people expect it to, now you really got the shot in the arm. Now you really got a lot of titles. And to your point, not every title may appease, us, the hardcore gamer, right? But that could help fund other things. And then we also know about the King portion, the mobile portion, right? They're very invested there. They definitely want to do big things there. We got Candy Crush, Call of Duty Mobile, and all these other things, right? That again, gamers may not necessarily like, but when corporations look at the revenue and the businessmen to help fund other things, then we may get the things that, other people like that maybe don't sell as much. So
my Phantom Dust, dude, that's the end goal here. You use the Call of Duty machine to funnel that money into Phantom Dust, which is not going to make a fraction of the money that Call of Duty makes, but at least if you have that steady little cushion, all of that Call of Duty money, all of that Activision money, all of that Game Pass money, we can get Phantom Dusts. We can get weird projects that we wouldn't get otherwise, because the reason that Activision is only doing Call of Duty is because that's what they've built their entire business around. They haven't built a business that's sustainable without Call of Duty. And with Microsoft in the mix, we can get more of that, because Activision has a ton of IP, and they will have more freedom to experiment. And that's what a lot of us want. A lot of the quote hardcore gamers, we want those new IPs, we want those new experiences. And the reality is that they're expensive as hell, they're risky as hell, and if you don't have a buffer, you just go out of business if they don't hit. And
talk to them.
It's not my money, so I don't really care at the end of the day. But that being said, I feel for the people who put in the work, put in the energy, spend years of their life on a project, put out in the world, and then it's just gone. Poof, into the ether, people move on to the next thing. And if you're a business and you spent millions and millions of dollars in 4 years hoping this thing makes money, and then it doesn't, you're in a bad place. You're in a really bad place.
No, absolutely. That's real. And that's the thing that I think gamers need to hear, because, another part of, I know we all Activision Blizzard a little bit right now, but another part of that is I look at the support studios and studios that, were kind of transformed into like, let's say Call of Duty sweatshops, but let's be real, like they literally out here pumping Call of Duty, like, and that have their own potential for their own. And I look at a studio, I look at High Moon, and High Moon was a studio that they made my beloved Transformers games. Like the Transformers games that had like War of Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. These are games that are near and dear to me. And because of the way Activision was constructed at the time, right? They're pulled off to become a support studio. I remember they were a support studio for Destiny at one point, and they actually made good Destiny DLC. But I mean, much as I'm a Destiny fan, I would still prefer them to do the games that they made, those amazing games. So, it's things like that that get me excited. And even Phil has come out and said that, look, they want to make changes there, right? They want to, use some of these great IP that have been dormant, right? And be able to utilize that in a good way. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a great point. I think that ABK, if that gets done, it could really also infuse a potential magical year. So I want to move forward. I know we talked about that. I wanted to talk about also the indie scene. And, from my perspective, we look at 2022, and I know the talk is, wasn't no games. I know Kai's been playing games. I've been playing a lot of stuff. I would track the Yomi, you know what I'm saying? Like, I played Grounded. I've been playing a lot of these AA/indie indie games that have launched in the Game Pass either day and date, and it's really filled out a lot of game time for me. I'm always have something to play, whether in Game Pass, whether 2 titles a month or whatever. So my question to you, Miles, coming into 2023, when indies kind of held Xbox down, right, as far as getting some exclusivity, anything that excites you potentially for 2023, or even if it's nothing specific, what do you think the potential of indie impact on Xbox's either Game Pass or just even being it's timed exclusive or something like that for Xbox?
Yeah, what's really exciting about 2023 beyond first party, because like you, there's been so much stuff that I've played this year. I took about a month off, 3 weeks off to move. And when I came back, I looked at what was added to Game Pass, and there was so much stuff I wanted to play that I just couldn't play. I just did not have the time. We've seen standouts like Death's Door, Nobody Saves the World, and Death's Door technically last year, but there have been a lot of really great, some of my favorite games, period, of the last year have been indie. And cool. I understand some people want the way I look at it, and this isn't to downplay or make fun of anybody here, but you have the Marvel crowd who they just want the big, huge movies. They just want to go to the theater, see a big, dumb action movie, and enjoy that. And that's what they look forward to. Those types of movies, nothing wrong with that. I go and see those all the time. And then you have the people who go see the weird Oscar bait right before the Oscars in theaters, and those indie movies where from a critical standpoint and from an industry and an artistic standpoint, everybody's like, oh, you have to play this. This is a transformative experience, an experience that will change your life. I don't think a Marvel movie, for the most part, is going to change the average person's life.
Easy.
But that being said, they both have their place. They are both incredibly important. And that's why I find it a little disingenuous when people try to write off indie, because it's such a great space to experiment. You can do ideas that can't be done in AAA because, as we touched on previously, years and years and years, and all these dollars and all of this money, you can't take a ton of risks with most publishers, because publishers, call them old-fashioned, they want to make money, and they know what you like in a lot of cases. They know what sells, and so they're going to just keep doing that over and over until that thing stops selling, and then they have to reevaluate. And then the ironic thing is they look at the indie space, they look at these indie projects and the ideas these indie games have introduced and had indie titles succeed, and they borrow or steal, however you want to look at it, and then they incorporate that. Once it's done by an indie developer and proven to be successful, they can pour that money into it because there's not as much of a risk. So they're both incredibly important, and Xbox is going to lean heavily into independent partnerships. ID at Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, as we've heard from independent developers, are an incredible vessel for getting their games out to more people, which, again, they get money. They get money up front, which is huge, because, again, it's something a lot of people don't talk about when we look at, why is this exclusive? Why did so-and-so take this deal with PlayStation? They hate Xbox gamers or whatever it is. The reality is, if you're working on a game and you have this huge risk and somebody comes to you and says, hey, do you not want this risk? Do you want a bunch of money right now and you don't have to wait and see if your game sells? I mean, come on. Are you not going to take it regardless of who it's from? It's not necessarily about hating one audience over the other. It's about supporting your team, supporting your game, and getting your game out to as many people as possible. So that's the beauty of Game Pass, and that is why we've seen so many great standout indie games launch day one in Game Pass. And I don't think that's going to slow down at all, even when Xbox starts putting out their big first-party hits.
100% agree. 100% agree. And I think that, first of all, let's give them credit for, the journey that they've come with the indie scene. 'Cause I remember at one point when the Xbox One launched, they were really trailing behind PlayStation. I believe they were calling PlayStation the indie station. And Xbox
indies
at the
were
time,
embracing that.
Yeah, and remember, Xbox indie devs at the time were frustrated with Xbox's policies and things of that nature. So to your point, the ID at Xbox program comes out. Shout out to Chris Charlotte and the team over there. They really changed the culture to now where I feel this generation, I almost look at Xbox as the kind of indie darling as far as making these deals, getting these things secured in. For me specifically, I look at deals like, the Iron Chronicle, I'm a guy that grew up with the Suikoden series on PlayStation. It's tremendous. And to see like the creator of that making a game and then them securing that, getting that in Game Pass, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Another one for me, I was at PAX West, Planet of Lana. It was very, very artistic, beautiful game. Again, games coming in 2023 that, for even if they may not eventually be completely exclusive, like you said, they may get a timed exclusive bag or they may get the Game Pass bag. And that helps basically supplant that risk that you have to take because you don't know what this game is going to sell, even though you create this beautiful thing. You don't know how the reach is going to be. Tremendous stuff. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think that we're going to see more of that. I think that I don't think that stops. That's another factor to me that makes 2023 a very intriguing year to see what's going on there. And yeah, man, I'm even right now getting excited for Somerville. I'm a huge Inside fan, and Inside, I believe some of the studios from Play Dead are now over there with Jump Ship. And Jump Ship is coming out with this game, and it's that dystopian, dark, kind of out of this world vibe. You don't know what's going on. There's a lot of stuff. I think Replaced, there's a lot of stuff coming. So I think, yeah, people are sleeping also with the indies as well. And I'm with you. You made a great point about creativity because a lot of times you're seeing more of the innovation on the indie side. And to me, this is a copycat league. Then the big publishers see that. They say, oh, they like that? Okay. You know what I'm saying? And then you see them copying the indies. Yeah, they're bringing that joint in. So it's like, it's a very interesting cycle. But that's why I do love the indie scene. But yeah, we're going to move on. And talked about Game Pass a lot. And we know that, the importance there. So what I wanted to talk about is kind of like the third party day and date Game Pass type of stuff, right? And do you think, Miles, that also continues, right? Do you see stuff coming into the service or stuff that may be already announced that you say, okay, you know what? Look out for this too, as well as 2023. Or is it, maybe not as impactful to you as far as 2023 is concerned for their overall, this monster year potentially?
I think it's still very important. Obviously, Xbox has been in a position where they needed to secure those more so than if they had a huge slate of first party. So it's been very important for them. But I still think moving forward, it is important to have those dynamics with your publishers. And we've seen publishers like Square Enix see success with stuff like Outriders and Game Pass. And that is a tool that you can use to leverage more games because as much as we fixate on the exclusives in the console space.
Why they gotta have that voice, why Twitter gotta sound like that?
I don't know. I don't know
funny.
why.
I loved it. That was good. It was good.
But the reality is, typically the biggest games are the multi-plat, third-party ones. We were just talking about Call of Duty. But Xbox and PlayStation wish they had a game that came a fraction as close and as big as Call of Duty, but they don't. And so the third-party stuff is very, very important. And if you can leverage a couple key big ones, that's just a boon for the service because it proves that the biggest games, whether they're exclusive or not, have the potential to come to Game Pass. And if you don't have to do a ton of them, sprinkle in, one or two a year just to say, you were excited about this. I know it's not a first party, but bam, day one, you can play this on Game Pass. Do a couple of those just to keep people looking. Just to keep people subscribed to Game Pass. And I think that'll be really important. So I'm interested to see as we go into next year and look at all of the third-party games that are dropping because, my God, that year, 2023 is looking just stupid for all of us.
Yeah.
God help us all. And our wallets are destroyed. Our time is gone. Say goodbye to any vacations you had planned because you're just going to spend them playing video games next year. But that being said, Xbox, I want to see them just secure a couple, just to keep me a little surprised.
Any particulars? Or just anything off the top?
I don't. I mean, you got standouts for me. Resident Evil 4. I'm gonna be buying that, playing that, no matter where it is. Do I think that's coming day one? Probably not. Right. But can you imagine the conversations surrounding a remake of one of the most beloved games of all time, day one in Game Pass? That's, again, it's probably a huge ask. It's probably a huge bag if you're going to Capcom.
Yeah, that's a bag. That's a bag.
Capcom's looking at that project and saying, "We're confident. This thing is going to do well. We don't need help to make this do well." So that's going to be Xbox coming to the table and saying, all right, I know you don't need help, but let me know how you feel about this number.
I like that. So many zeros behind that. Okay. No doubt. I think that's a great point. I think that if they continue to, if they continue to try to make deals of that nature, right? And I look at, to me, there's a lot. Obviously, we see the Persona thing right now, kind of taking over the zeitgeist as far as an older game and stuff like that. But it goes to show you JRPGs are what. And then entering the service. Then I look at, for me personally, I'm not the biggest Battle Royale fan, but I thought when they got Naraka Blade Point, I thought that was a tremendous get. I was shocked to see a game like that join the service, and I played it. I'm like, oh, this is actually the Battle Royale for me. I can do my ninja, my channel 5, my martial law. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I was getting into it. I'm like, yo, this is a really good game, and apparently huge on, PC. So I look at that, but then I look forward, and I say, okay, Game Pass kind of third party, and I look at, like, they got, Lies of P.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, that's a big get. Pinocchio, Dark Souls, showed well, looked good, unique style. And then I also look at, like, keeping it in that same vein, you look at, like, Wolong, which we just had the demo.
Did you play that demo?
Oh, bro, you played that demo?
Oh, yeah, I played that demo. You know I played that demo.
Very impressed. And again, I'm not even a Souls guy like that, but I saw the polish. I saw the styles. And I believe it even has a co-op component with, you can count integration better than some other games. But we ain't going to talk about that. I'm being slanderous. I'm being messy. Shout out to the Elden Ring crew. I always got to come for y'all when y'all talk like it's perfect. I always got to. But anyway, let me stop you, man. All jokes aside, Wolong looks amazing, and it looks like it has a lot of potential. And again, these are games launching day and date, third party, AAA style level games into the service, and it'll be interesting to see also if that continues. Anything else on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. Some of the games I'm most excited about next year aren't first party, and some of those, like Lies of P in particular, the weird Pinocchio Bloodborne game, that's coming day one. Let's go. That's a game I was going to buy day one no matter what. No matter where it was at, no matter who locked exclusivity, no matter where I could play it, I was buying that game. I was ready. And then you get those games in Game Pass, and you keep people like me very happy. You keep people like me subscribed to that service, looking forward to what's next. Every few months, you're giving me a little treat, something to look forward to, and that's enough to keep me happy. Again, as much as I love the first party AAA bangers, I do like the weird stuff. That's, for me, just my personal tastes. Keep it weird. And I don't want video games and the industry to lose the weirdness, because it was fundamentally built on being weird. And that's why I love it. That's why I fell in love with games, because they were just unlike anything else in the weirdest, most beautiful ways possible. And so those are the games that I rally behind, and those are the games I scream about online. And Lies of P looks exactly like what I want.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. Great point about the weirdness and uniqueness of the industry, as opposed to the assembly line and always copying and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I'm with you. I think the other thing I wanted to mention, just like, okay, so we look at all of these potential scenarios. The first party, right, which we pretty much expect a lot of these to drop. The potential of a second half first party game, right? That could be another, really huge addition to the service, to the lineup. We talked about Game Pass. We talked about the indie scene. The other thing I want to talk about, just kind of like the fringe stuff, right? There's a couple of like things that we know that, maybe I think when I say, I think like Stalker 2, also is it Minecraft Legends, I believe, also.
Oh, yes. Is that 2023 too?
I think that might be 2023 as well. I'll double check.
Because they had some playable demos very recently, so that would suggest that, yeah, it's on the table.
Which is huge, right? And I know, some gamers, whatever, may not, Minecraft might be a thing, but it's a huge, series, a huge following. So you couple that with all the friends. So again, if theoretically all this stuff comes together, right? Now we're talking serious talk. We're talking now Pantheon talk. Now, if this all comes together, there's a lot of ifs here, right? Miles Dompier. Would that be one of the greatest years in Xbox games history? Yes or no?
I think we have the potential to get there for sure. If you can, what I want to see, and this is not realistic, this is not something they're going to do, but I want to see the 12-month slate. I want them to come out like they did last June and said, these are the games you can expect in the next 12 months. I want them to do that in January and say, boom, all right, we've heard you. We know 2022 was light. We know we promised one big AAA game per quarter. Here's what they are. And just bam, 4 games. They're telling you these 4 big AAA games are coming every quarter. And then I want them to come out and say, and talk about the Wolong, the Lies of P, all the other partnerships. Then I want them to talk about some of these partnerships they've been working on behind the scenes with third-party projects. You got Kojima in the mix. One thing I find weird about the Kojima project is
Let's go.
they said that everything at the showcase was going to be in the next 12 months. The Kojima project was at the showcase. Technically, they said everything you see, quote, see today, and we didn't technically see, quote, the Kojima project. But you told your audience that everything in the showcase was going to be coming in the next 12 months. What's the Kojima? Where's that Kojima project at? I don't, I'm not saying it is coming, but I'm saying Game Awards are coming up.
Okay.
Kojima, Jeff Keighley, they're buddies. It's been a while. We've had 2 weird shows with Jeff and Kojima back to back where Kojima comes out and says, I'm working on something. And then the next one, he's going to reveal what he's working on. Here's my podcast. So,
shout out to the podcast.
Is he going to do it 3 times in a row, be at 3 shows and not show us something? I don't know. I don't know. But that being said, there's a lot of potential for 2023 for Xbox. And there could be, realistically, a big game, whether it's first party or third party, whether it's Game Pass or exclusive, every single month. They really are poised. If we look at everything on the horizon, every developer or publisher they could partner with, they could give us something every single month, which for people coming off the back of 2022, that's what they want. That's what they would hope for. Would they be able to deliver that cadence every year? I don't know. But 2023 right now, with everything we know that's coming and everything we know that is confirmed for Game Pass and confirmed to be launching, they could give us something every single month that is noteworthy. And that's it. That's all. If you were invested in a platform or an ecosystem, you cannot ask for more than that. That is an outrageous cadence of releases. And, 2023, maybe. I'm going to say hard maybe. Hard could be that.
Could be. Okay, now listen. Whew, the more I manifest it and I think about it, and I'm like, all right. And I'm going to get stoned by the Xbox community for this.
Don't do it. No.
I'm going to say it anyway. Look, I get it. Hellblade, Avowed, any one of those come that second half, it can make it a magical year. But I'm gonna actually still be conservative. I'm gonna still get on my soapbox and say if they don't, if one of those 3 don't fall off the chair yet. Even if they don't, and it's Redfall, Starfield, Forza, right? Spaced out on some level, right? And it's still, let's say the Diablo 4, the Activision Blizzard stuff. Let's still say the Game Pass exclusive. Let's still stay the indie scene. You know what I mean? To me, that's still a massive year. And I know Xbox fans are like, but those are the games that were promised last year. And what if I get it? And it's nothing completely
a little
wrong
higher pitched.
Because they're going to say, but you've already, those are the games that get delayed. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I get it. But I'm telling y'all right now, like you said earlier, Miles, when Starfield comes, that's a movement in itself, right? And if it does come, second half of the year, whatever, even the first half of the year, like it's gonna really dominate, right? Redfall, I'm being conservative, but I saw that last trailer. I don't know, man.
Again, I might get stoned by the Xbox community for
you
this.
Tell me, you're stoning.
I'm way more hyped for Redfall than I am for Starfield. Ooh. I'm ready. Like Redfall, that world, that weirdness, this quaint.
Educate Maddie. Let me hear this. Educate Maddie, because Maddie need to hear this. Go ahead. I'm gonna send this back.
Every single setting for every single Stephen King universe is Redfall. That quaint, seaside town, just coming off the back of Midnight Mass. It's got that energy to it, the weird, quiet wetness to it. And then you have Obsidian, or not Obsidian, but you have Arcane, who are the masters of player agency, giving me a co-op game. Cog, you know, I'm a big multiplayer guy. I'm a big co-op guy. And for me, if I have the option, I want to play every single game I possibly can with my friends. All right? And Redfall is that. It's a weird horror RPG open world experience from Arcane.
Have to bring you back for the Redfall spoiler cast, because
Maddie
Starfield,
no
want to do it with me.
What's up with that? Bethesda talking about its most ambitious project ever. Can't even give me co-op in Starfield. Wow, Todd. What's no? But in all seriousness, right? I'm with you. I will back you. If we only get Forza and we only get Redfall and we only get Starfield for first party, I won't be disappointed. Again, I know people are upset. I know people are outraged. But the reality is, if I get all of those on top of everything else that I know is coming, I will have no complaints about 2023. Do I want more? Yes, baby. We all want more. We always want more. That's human nature. It's who we are. Give me a banger, a AAA banger every single month. But is that realistic? Is that sustainable moving forward? That's Microsoft's plan. That's their goal. And we'll have to see if next year is the start of that.
Yeah, no, fantastic point. And that's all I was saying. I'm with you. Like, this is not Cog saying, I don't want those extra things. This is not, like, I'm just saying, I love what you say, because you got me so pumped with the Redfall situation, because I was just being conservative. I'm like, okay, Starfield be the banger. Forza is like, reliable. We don't worry about Forza.
Forza's going to come out. It's going to have its audience. It's going to hit.
Forza's like the sun rising. Like, you know it's going to hit. You know it's coming. You know it's bright. It's coming. It's going to do what it do. I'm not worried about for turn 10. I know what y'all do. I'm not the motorsport guy like that. I'm more of a Horizon guy. But I know when they come out, and we already seen kind of the previews. We was like, whoa. And the ray trace, the game looked phenomenal. I'm not worried about Forza in the slightest. But if Redfall does what me and Miles say, potentially, and if that is as the kids say, a banger, that changes the conversation. Because now you got the first half banger, you got the Forza, and then you got A-Team, God Howard, with Starfield, with all the bells and whistles, all the dresses, the ketchup, the mustard, everything that you need. It could talk, and now you fill it out with all this other stuff. And the last thing I will say before we start wrapping is that we even mentioned the secret project, so to speak. You had Windows Central, your amazing co-worker, Jez Corden, he talks about, project, Belfries, and, there's also Compulsion. We don't know when Compulsion's. I don't know if any of those projects come to fruition, but there's a potential that may be one of the projects, right? So, and maybe they not be a AAA level, maybe they're AA, but if one of those also sneaks into the mix of 2023, it's still, the conversation gets special there. What do you have to say about the project games?
What I will say is that count the number of Xbox studios and then count the number of projects that we know about. And the number of projects that we know about are a lot less than the number of studios under the Xbox Game Studios banner. So it is safe to say that all of these projects have been working on something. Many of these have not been revealed yet. And I will also say that the partnership team, the old Xbox partnership team, has been very busy. Very, very busy behind the scenes. And there are several big partnership projects that haven't been officially revealed as well. So I'm really curious to see. Again, I don't know which of these are coming in 2023. I know a lot of the first party stuff, as it's been rumored and speculated on, probably isn't coming in 2023. But that being said, the partnership projects, that's where it's interesting, because that's completely separated from the Xbox bubble and world in a lot of ways, and there are way more opportunities for a little surprise to pop up from a partnership project. So yeah, there's a lot that is coming that we don't know about, and there is huge potential for Xbox to actually deliver on that promise of one big AAA game per quarter.
Fantastic. I forgot about the partnership. It's a great thing, man. And global publishing, like there's still things we don't know, right? And it really could change the thing. And again, the thing that I'm thinking about as well, that you got me thinking about partnerships, is they've been on record for saying they are not done after Activision Blizzard King. Mm-hmm. And from my understanding, maybe some people got some offer letters and they just sitting on, they can't act until the CMA and this thing goes on. So let's just say potentially that closes and there is a studio or a publisher potentially, that Microsoft has been interested in, and, that goes out. And obviously we don't know how quickly that could get finalized, but it is interesting to see them continue to move forward, and saying that, hey, they're not done. There's still holes to fill, so to speak, for this service, that they need to have software in at a cadence, like you said, every quarter, like that's how you feed the beast. That's how you get this thing going. So I'm with you, man. But yeah, this is some fun talk. I know, in closing for me, it's kind of like, the talk was always like, oh, wait till next year, bro. That kind of thing. And I get it. And rightfully so. They've got a lot to prove. We're not going to sit here and sugarcoat. And a lot of this stuff is magical. And a lot of this stuff is as far as all these stars aligning. But on a foundational level, COG still believes this is a strong year. This is something to get pumped about. This is like, this was like the equivalent of your bad sports team. They got the free agents. Everybody's healthy, so to speak, and they're looking to make
draft pick, baby. Let's go.
And they're looking to make a run, right? Like that's the sports analogy I look at. And I like in the Xbox. So in closing, Miles, I'll let you close this thing out as far as just your final thoughts. 2023 Xbox. Let you put the cherry on the Sunday, man. Where you at?
There's been a lot of negative conversations about Xbox and their output, and some of it's fair, some of it's not fair. But really, when I genuinely look at Xbox right now, and when I look at the future of Xbox, when I look at the people that are in place, there's never been a better time for me when it comes to Xbox and its future and its potential and its investments. Microsoft has never invested in Xbox in the way they are right now. They've never empowered their teams and empowered their people in the way they're doing right now. And when you have people in place who love gaming, who are genuinely passionate about the industry and the games themselves, obviously right now as gaming gets bigger and bigger, it's easy to look at it from the outside and say, oh, dang, I'm just leaving money on the table. I need to get a piece of that. I need to invest in that. But you do have people who are in a position where, yes, obviously, as much as we talk about brands and loyalty, these companies want to make money. They're setting up businesses and practices and putting out things to make money off us. That's just the sad reality of the world that we live in. God bless the USA and God bless capitalism. It's the machine that we've all subscribed to over here. But ignoring all of that, when I look at Xbox right now, Xbox is more exciting, more innovative, and more forward-thinking than they've ever been. And they're willing to be disruptive in ways they haven't been before. Before, it was disruptive that Xbox was getting in the space at all. That was their big disruption. But with things like Game Pass, with things like Xbox Game Studios, funding weird Kojima cloud projects that who knows what that's going to end up being and looking like and feeling. Those things get me excited. And those show me that Microsoft isn't afraid to use their big piles of money to take some risks and do some exciting things for gaming. And that's what it's all about. Again, we talk about what we want, and what I want, and this is financially irresponsible, is I want people to commit to making big, weird games, trying things that aren't guaranteed to work, giving us things that we didn't know we wanted. And Microsoft has the potential to do that more than most publishers do because of just how big they are, because of all the other facets of their business, their cloud infrastructure, Xbox, Game Pass, Microsoft Office. We meme about Microsoft Office, but that's just a machine that allows some risks to happen. So if a big publisher and a big company is going to use all of their big piles of money to make me games that are good, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Thought. Okay, yeah. Okay. Check you out. Well said. Yeah, beautifully said. I'm with you, and that's what it's all about. Funding those games, getting even the things that, like I said, sometimes some hardcore gamers might not necessarily gravitate towards you, but that helps fund other things. And yeah, I think I'm with you. We're just going to sit there and let this thing play out, maybe revisit this episode, see how it all played out. And if people have the same thought process at the end of 2023 and say, hey, it was that thing. That was the resurgence.
They did it, baby. It was the greatest year in Xbox history.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be the E3 tag. Every year they got the out. The greatest software lineup. You get that one. Oh man, it's gonna be classic, man. Salute Miles Dompier in the realm of the Dukes, holding it down. Fantastic discussion. Where can the fine people find you? What you got going on, sir?
Cog, love you, man. Appreciate you having me on. Love talking about Xbox. If you want to hear me ramble more about Xbox, you can follow me on Twitter at Miles Dompier. You can also find my work over on WindowsCentral.com and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Windows Central Gaming, and that's about it. Really, if you want to get a hold of me, the best place is Twitter. If you want to talk, I'm always on there. I'm on there too much, realistically, but always appreciate it. Love engaging with the conversation because there's a lot of good takes and a lot of exciting people who love gaming, and that's why we're all here. So appreciate you guys hanging out.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you for pulling up. I already know at Lord Cognito on Twitter. Also, salute to the LSM community, man. Love the write-ins, love the energy. You know what I mean? It's been really cool to see. And yeah, man, DDU's rocking and rolling another ultimate supplement edition. You know what I mean? And this is fantastic talk. But that's all I got. Everybody enjoy your day. We are out. Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.